Today we're working on a 91 Chevy S10, and this has very unique U-joints. So we're going to go ahead and cover replacing them and what replacement U-joints you need. Now you'll see here, there are no collars that hold this U-joint in, no bolts or anything like that like you see on most vehicles. It's a solid on both sides ear that holds that on. Right here's the secret. This is what needs to come out. It actually has a plastic ring built into the U-joint bearing cup here. And then it's kind of almost like a rivet. So we need to take off this head on both sides before we can press the U-joint out. So we're gonna go ahead and cover that real quick. Now there's a number of ways you can fry this fish. You can hit it with a Dremel and cut it off. You can use a flathead screwdriver and pound it off. I'm gonna see if a razor blade's even enough to do. I'm trying to find something that everybody would have available to them. Yep, and even a razor blade will do it. So you don't really need any specialty tools for this. And you can see here that it's literally plastic. So once we have the head off, it also helps then to take a punch and hit the center of this. Scratch all would work. You could also use a very small drill bit. That'll help us get more plastic out of that, and that's gonna make pressing it out easier. So now go ahead and repeat that on both sides of this bearing cup, and then we have to do it to the other three, so all four of them. Okay, once we have all 8 of those plastic heads off, we can now press this out. Now we're going to be using an actual universal joint press. All the links will be in the video description on the U-joint that we're going to use to replace this, along with all the tools. You can press it out the old-fashioned way with a hammer and socket, but the U-joint press is so much easier and faster. And here you can see that plastic ring I was talking about that's formed into the bearing cup. Now if you haven't used one of these U-joint presses before, once you press it out one side and get the cup out, you have to feed it back through the other side to get the other cup out. Make sure this cup is lined up in this ear properly. If it gets in there crooked, you're going to deform the ear and then you're going to have an issue. If you're having a hard time, if it just won't line up and push out straight, then go ahead and take an angle grinder and cut one of the ears off so you can get it out that way. You do not want to mess up the ears on the drive shaft. So it kind of destroyed that bearing cup, but that's okay. It was still enough to squeeze it out around there. So now go ahead and press it out of the other yoke end. Make sure that the press is lined up so that the bearing cup comes out through the center. You don't want to be driving the bearing cup into the press. It's not going to go. And you'll see what I mean here. You can't get it out of here without with the other bearing cup on there. That's why you have to press it back out the other side. So make sure that we're lined up straight on there, and then we'll press it back through. And that's all there is to removing the old one. Now we'll go ahead and press in the new one. So again, I'm going to put part numbers and links in the description of the video to all the tools and parts we're using. But here's what your new U-joint's going to look like. Since the old one had these built-in plastic rings, you obviously aren't doing that. So what you're going to have is this style where you have retainer clips on the insides of the cups. So I'm going to show you on a U-joint that's already been replaced how that looks. So here you see the new U-joint in there, and you see the clips I'm talking about here. So once we have the new U-joint pressed in there, they give you these C-clips. and they're going to go right on the inside. These are so easy to pop on and pop off. Now before you press your new U-joints in, you want to make sure you clean up these ears. Just hit it with a little sandpaper, and you're going to see all that plastic that's in that groove in there from the factory U-joint. You don't have to chisel that out. Don't waste your time. Just clean this up, make sure there's no burrs or anything. Usually just a little light sanding will be all you need just to clean that up for the new cups to slide in. If you feel any kind of nicks or burrs, you're going to need to clean that up either with a metal file, a Dremel tool, something like that. You don't want any nicks or burrs on there. Okay, once we have that all cleaned up, ready for the new U-joint, go ahead and take all the bearing cups off. And we're going to put the U-joint in there. We're going to press the first bearing cup in. And when you do this, you want the U-joint inside the bearing cup so that none of the bearings inside here fall down. Because if they fall out of that outer edge, and we press this in later, we're going to break them. So we want the U-joint inside the cup as we press the cup in, holding the bearings in place. We're just going to go on this style until that cup is just about flat with the flange. Now we'll put the bearing cup on the other side to get it started over there, and now we're going to slide the U-joint into that cup to help get that started and hold those bearings in place. Ideally, the U-joint's slightly in both of them, holding the bearings in place in both cups, but we're mainly focused on the one we're going to be moving around and vibrating around. Once you have that one about flat, make sure you have free movement in the U-joint. And then we want to put our C-clips in. And if one needs moved in a little bit to get clearance for the C-clip, that's fine. But from this point, you want to use your U-joint press by hand so you don't over torque it and send the U-joint through the cup, breaking the cup. Once we got that C-clip in, we'll now press the other one in and do it on the other side. So again, make sure you have free movement. And then rinse and repeat for the other two cups on the other side of the flange, and that's all there is to it. Just go ahead and get it started on that like that. Set your first bearing cup in, flip around, do the other side. So once we have that side done, we rinsed and repeated on this side. And I'm going to show you putting the clips in on this last half. You can get them most of the way, and then you'll just need a flathead screwdriver to tap them into the groove. Just like that. So once you have your U-joint fully installed, work it both ways. It should be nice and free moving. Go ahead and grease your fitting right here. And then that's all there is to it. Really hope this video helped you out. If it did, hit it with a like, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate the support. Thanks for watching.